Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel sucks. The game is in such a terrible state right now, and if you're playing on ranked, you're just gonna be hit with so much frustration with so many Omni negates, or if you don't play a tier 1 deck, you don't matter. And it's unfortunate because before Tailorment, there was so many variety of decks. And all you see on the ranked ladder now is Dragon Link, Tier Lament, Sprite occasionally. Same with Fluanderies. Like once in a blue moon you see it. Little tad of Sword Soul, but it's mostly Tier Lament, Sprite, Branded, and Dragon Link. And it's so fucking boring to watch. Like, literally, you're waiting for your opponent to end your turn. Like, it feels like 10 or 20 minutes have gone by. You're just watching them play solitaire, and finally it gets to your turn. And unless you have Dark Ruler no more or specific cards to out the board, you can't do anything. Like, and another problem is certain decks can't run these outs. Like, this is one of the most ignorant, stupid, retarded comments when people try and retort you and say, "Oh, just draw the out. Draw the out. It's a skill issue. Just draw the out." And I just want to say to these people, you're an idiot. Because in a 40 card deck, what is the percentage of so-called drawing these outs? You know what I mean? And I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like it's not only Konami's fault, but it's the player's fault. Now, before you raise your torch and pitchforks at me for saying it's the player's fault, hold on a second before you do that. I'm referring to the toxic fandom of the player base. Yes, they're at fault for this because when people have legit constructive criticism either about the real game or this game, they will come and tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. You're a Yugi boomer. They'll use whatever means to defend their game because they believe in their mind that the game is flawless. Konami can never do wrong. And I don't understand why Konami is ignoring this and not addressing this. I think Konami needs to come out in a tweet and say, hey, look, people are allowed to criticize this game and give opinions about this game, so can you lay off or something? Like, Konami should do a sort of a Twitter to tell these toxic fans off because they're part of the problem. And it doesn't help that there's a lot of Yugi tubers that are showing broken combos on their channel saying, "Oh, look, this is how you break the game." And it's like, what the hell? Like, I just want to play what I want to play, and I don't want to feel like I'm forced to play a tier 1 deck just to get to the highest rank. I don't want to do that, okay? And I know somebody's going to say, well, there's been lower tier decks that have gotten to the master rank. Okay, but you got to ask yourself, how much time and dedication did they do to get there? Because let's be honest. Climbing up to the master rank takes so long to do so, and in certain situations you just cannot win the match because put up 3 Omni negates and monster negates. Oh, on top of that, I play Max E. It's like, what can you do about it? And another problem is Konami is going after decks that don't deserve to be going after. Like, there's this guy that plays Fluanderies, and you know what? I understand his pain and frustration because he wanted to play a deck that is great against Maxi because they don't draw so many cards out of their ass because of that card. By the way, why is this card legal at 3? Why can't this be limited or banned? I really don't understand this. But I'm going to show you through his perspective why he feels that Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is frustrating to play. And he's even considering quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Take it away.
In that, well, Quantum, why are you complaining? They clearly want you to move on. There's new cards coming to the game. You need to move on from this deck and play a better deck. I see that you have Labyrinth. I see that you have Sword Soul. I see that you have Tearlaments. You have Bestial Punk. You have Branded. There's a lot of decks you can play. You said Sprite is like one of the best decks in the format, which I will say I take back now because ever since the Grapha Fusion came out, which, I have it in this deck here, this deck is clearly the best deck now once again. But this leads me to my next point, in that being somebody who works 9 to 10 hours a day, being somebody who has obligations outside of work as well, again, you see it on my match history whenever I show you like my progress. I play just a couple matches a day. Sometimes those matches are 3 or 4 minutes, sometimes they're 10 minutes, but I don't actually play all that much. And I started playing this game again in November of 22, and I've been playing Fluanderies ever since then. And I like this deck. I built it in the TCG. I've invested real money into physical cards, thousands of dollars actually in that like 8-month time span, because I like this game. I used to play it back in the day in my childhood, right, from 2002 to 2007, Chaos Control days. And I'm really considering just retiring this game now because clearly this game isn't made for somebody like me who actually can't dedicate 5, 6, 7 hours or multiple hours a week in order to consistently learn new decks, consistently upgrade those decks, learn new matchups, because they end up nerfing other decks. And this is what I meant when I said in the beginning, they ban stuff or limit stuff like, let's say, Salamangreat Gazelle. Salamangreat is not a threat to the format. I mean, they ended up unlimiting it, I think, right? The Gazelle. But how long was it limited when it didn't need to be limited, right? Like, you put these cards on the limited and ban lists because the deck might be slightly good, not even top tier. And this is what I'm afraid of, is like they limit Empin and they're just going to forget about it for like 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ban lists. And then they might eventually bring it back off the ban list. By that time, I'm not playing this game anymore, right? I've spent the time to learn this deck. I've spent the time learning the interactions, learning the matchups, and I don't really think that it's fair that there are other decks that are clearly much better than mine that I'm playing, even if my deck was, at half power, even if Empin was unlimited, even if map was at 2. These decks are still by far and away way stronger than Fluanderies. Like, there's so many cards that just straight up counter and beat my deck. And these decks, yes, they do have their own weaknesses, of course. I have to draw 1 of 2 Shifter, and then Tearlaments is likely beat, or at least for that turn, right? Because Shifter is not forever. But it just feels unfair. And again, you can say, well, Fluanderies is an unfair deck. It's a deck that should never have been made. It's very annoying to play against. It's a control deck, and like I said, it's not that hard to beat, honestly, especially with the way the game has been power crept with Power of the Elements and stuff. This deck is by no means invincible. Like I said, in TCG, you have 3 map, you have 3 Empin, you have 3 prosperity, and even even going first for the first match, I know it's a best of 3 format in TCG. This deck still has consistency issues. This deck still gets beat hard with Kashtira coming to the game. Fenrir banish your Empin face down. What are you gonna do, right? You just lose at that point against Kashtira or any deck that splashes Fenrir, which every deck will, because every other deck special summons, and to a Fenrir, the card is going to be splashable in every deck, literally every single deck. So, I'm not looking forward to playing the format after Kashtira comes. I'm not looking forward to playing this game in general with the limitations that Konami, or the way that Konami kind of handles their ban lists and stuff. And for that reason, I think that this game might be retired soon on my end. So
it's going to be fully unaffected by everything. Spell, traps, effects, unaffected, not just target, not just destroyed. Fully unaffected, okay? He's going to have an effect to pop my shit in my turn, I think, something like that. And I'm not allowed to summon monsters. I'm not allowed to do anything, essentially. So, goes into Silent Honor Dark. Remember that card, too, a pretty cool card. Gonna go to this dude. 6,000 attack. 7,500 attack. He's still summoning monsters and ended the turn. And I can't do shit. I top deck Fusion Destiny, but I can't use it. Play the MST, just set a monster, and that's all I could do. Couldn't summon due to that guy's effect. Couldn't do anything. Like, even if I could summon, I don't think I was going to be able to get over that guy, but at least try and do something. And just destroys my monster, goes for an attack, 2 attacks. That's game. Where is the skill in that? Where is the skill? Where is the, player interaction?
Duels are way too fast. Decks are way too overpowered. The game is way beyond a state of being balanced. Konami is way too slow to ban or limit cards. The average turn count per duel is only around 3 before someone quit or lost. Is this healthy? I don't think so. No old school player mode. Also, the same decks are always top tier or overused, so the dueling experience is boring, always going up against the same matchups. The player base are clowns who can't build their own strategies and have to net deck to win. Maybe also due to communities like Master Duel Meta who incentivize deck copying and the meta slave mentality. Play Diamond Tier 1 and you only face, for example, Sword Soul. Also, the same cards are always used, like Max C, Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, etc. Konami barely updates the game with exciting content. The events suck, they just ban certain cards and put focus on certain other cards, and that's it. Again, boring PvP matchups. I barely ever even played those events. I mostly only used my bot to farm off all gems and such. That's what these events are mostly good for. Spending gems or materials for those decks is a waste. Also, Konami specifically bans self-burn cards as well, so we can't even play that to farm medals and gems. Nearly all missions can only be completed in ranked, which means you have to go up against the same annoying decks and cards all day. If you're about to complete some missions, like for example dealing battle damage, the other player often already surrendered and you get screwed out of not being able to complete your missions until someone bothers to stay in the duel.
One more thing to add to this. The gems are abysmal. You barely get any gems if you've been playing this game for a while. If you just create an account, great. You're set. You can create any deck you practically can make. But the daily gem rewards are terrible. The only time you get a significant amount of gems is the events, and the events are a slog. It's like trying to do your homework. That's how bad the gems are. So leave your thoughts below in the comment section about how you feel about Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. But the only place that is even remotely fun is playing against friends. That's all I can give it.